The world has been bleached of color and sound. Hunger has done this. It is a slow, quiet predator that hunts from within, hollowing out the clan until their movements are brittle and their voices are the rasp of dry leaves. They have walked for days, driven from their ancestral valley by a blight that turned the berry bushes black and sent the game animals scattering to the wind. Now they move through a new land, a silent procession of ghosts led by their shaman Mara. Her authority comes not from strength, but from her ability to read the unseen currents of the world, a skill that feels like a bitter joke when the only current she can feel is the slow, draining tide of her people's life. Then they smell it. The scent cuts through the dusty air, a strange and potent perfume. It is not the clean scent of flowers or the savory promise of roasting meat. It is a heavy, pungent sweetness, the smell of life pushed to the edge of decay. It is the smell of hope, because it is the smell of something. The scent leads them to a small, secluded grove, a basin of lush green cradled by low-slung hills. The trees are unfamiliar, their branches heavy with fruit of a strange, purplish hue. Much of it lies on the ground, split open and bruised, a carpet of fermenting pulp that buzzes with insects. And among the trees moves a herd of giants. Parasei. They are not aggressive. They move with a languid grace, their long, curving crests looking like instruments of sound and peace. They occasionally emit a low, mournful, resonant call that seems to make the very air vibrate. They are placidly stripping the fruit from the lower branches, their presence both a warning and a promise the fruit is edible. Mara watches them, her mind a battlefield of caution and desperate need. This is the most basic and dangerous form of ethnobating, to trust the gut of a dinosaur. Its movements oddly uncoordinated. She dismisses it. Hunger sharpens the focus to a single point. She approaches one of the fallen fruits, its skin thin and weeping a sticky juice. The smell is overpowering, almost sickeningly sweet, with a sharp, biting tang underneath. She licks a drop from her finger. The taste explodes in her mouth, a riot of sweetness and a strange, spreading warmth. She eats one. Then another. The clan watches, their eyes widened hollow. Desperate consensus is reached. They descend on the grove. They eat with the frantic, joyless urgency of the starving. It is not a meal, it is a battle against the emptiness inside. And then, the world begins to change. The gnawing ache in Mara's stomach does not just disappear. It is replaced by a blooming, pleasant heat that spreads up her chest and into her limbs. The hard, sharp edges of the world begin to soften. The constant, grinding fear that has been her companion for weeks simply. Hunter, a man whose face has been a mask of grim resolve, lets out a sudden barking laugh. He claps his hand over his mouth, his eyes wide with surprise. A child begins to giggle, a sound they have not heard in a moon. The low calls of the dinosaurs are no longer a potential threat, but a beautiful, mesmerizing song. The clan is afloat, lifted out of the harsh reality of their lives, set adrift on a warm, blurry, euphoric sea. For the first time in a very long time, there is no pain, there is no fear. There is only the sunset grove and the strange, laughing gift of its fruit. If you have ever felt the desperate need to silence the sharp-toothed predator of your own thoughts, then you know the seductive power of this grove. The chronicle of what was found and what was lost has just begun. The world melts, colors bleed into one another, sounds become thick and syrupy. A profound and idiotic joy settles over the clan. They are children again, clumsy and loud, their movements exaggerated and poorly aimed. One hunter tries to demonstrate a spear throw and falls over himself, to the roaring laughter of the others. Two women begin a dance, a spiraling, uncoordinated display that is more stumbling than art. They have been freed from the rigid cage of survival. And the release is a chaotic explosion. Mara, the shaman, is both a participant and an observer. Her mind, usually a sharp tool for deciphering the world, is now a swirling pool of strange visions. The patterns on the tree bark seem to shift and drift. The low, sonorous calls of the Parasei feel like a language. She can almost understand a deep, resonant conversation about the sun and the earth. This is a powerful vision, a true moment of shamanism, a direct communion with the spirit of this new land. She believes this is a gift, a sacred place meant to heal their broken spirits. The sun begins to dip below the hills, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple that are so beautiful, so impossibly vivid that it brings tears to her eyes. It is in this state of blissful sensory overload that the danger comes. It comes not with a roar, but with the subtle absence of sound. The mournful calls of the herd cease. Predatory stillness settles over the grove, but the clan does not notice. They are too lost in their own heads, their senses to dull, their reactions to slow. Mara feels at first a tiny prickle of unease at the base of her neck, the ancient, sober part of her brain screaming a warning that the rest of her mind cannot hear. She struggles to her feet, the world tilting drunkenly around her. She squints toward the shadows pooling at the edge of the grove, eyes that reflect the dying sun with a cold, hungry fire. The head rises above the ferns. Short, powerfully built with a pair of wicked, brow-like horns. A Carnotaurus. A Carnotaurus, not the largest of the great killers, but the fastest, a creature built for the ambush, a sprinter designed to close distances with terrifying speed. It has been drawn by the noise, by the scent of so much living flesh gathered in one place, uncharacteristically loud and careless. Mara tries to scream a warning, but the word catches in her throat, a clumsy, slurred sound. The Carnotaurus explodes from the brush. It is not a hunt, it is a reaping. The clan is a herd of bewildered, slow-moving targets. They scatter, but their legs are traitors, their balance a joke. They trip over roots they cannot see, they stumble into each other. The hunter who had been laughing so hard just moments before is the first to be taken. There is just a blur of motion, the sickening crunch of bone, and then he is gone, dragged into the darkness. Panic, rawned undiluted by the fruit's euphoric haze, finally cuts through. It is a terrible, sobering slap. The clan is now a panicked mob, their beautiful dream shattered into a million shards of terror. Mara watches, helpless, as the shadow with horns claims another of her people. The sacred grove has become a slaughterhouse. The spirits have not given a gift, they have laid a trap. The sun rises on a scene of desecration. The grove, once a paradise of blissful escape, is now a landscape of consequence. 2 members of the clan are gone, their absence a physical void. The survivors are scattered amongst the trees, not basking in the memory of euphoria, but curled in on themselves, wrestling with a new and terrible affliction. A skull-splitting ache, a stomach that oils with a sour fire, a mouth that tastes of ash and regret. Every ray of sunlight is a spear in the eye. Every sound is a hammer against the skull. This is the world's first hangover, a cruel and baffling punishment for a crime they did not know they were committing. It is a physical manifestation of their loss, a collective agony that mirrors the holes torn in their small community. Mara suffers the worst. The visions of the previous night, once a source of divine connection, now mock her. She, the shaman, the one who is supposed to see clearly, led her people into a slaughter. The psychoactive properties of the fruit did not open her mind to the spirits, they blinded her to the world. She crawls to the edge of the grove and is violently sick, purging the last of the sweet poison from her body. As the sickness passes, a cold, hard clarity begins to form in the ruins of her mind. She looks at the fruit scattered on the ground, not as a gift or a curse, but as a thing. A power, like fire, it can also burn. It is a tool, and like any tool, it demands rules. She gathers the survivors. They are a wretched, miserable group, their faces pale and streaked with tears. She does not offer comfort. She offers a law. She holds up a single bruised fruit. This is a spirit, she says, her voice a rock croak. It is a laughing spirit that makes you strong and deaf. It is a dreaming spirit that makes you blind. She walks to a flat stone near the center of the grove. We will not eat from the spirit's hand whenever we wish. We will not let it rule our bellies. She places the fruit on the stone, then picks up a smaller rock. We will only ask for its dream when the sun is highest. We will have watchers with clear eyes and sharp spears who do not drink. They will be our anchor to this world while we visit the other. With a sharp crack, she crushes the fruit, the pulp and juice staining the rock like a ritual sacrifice. This is the way. The spirit must be honored with caution. This is the first law. It is a monumental leap in the history of human ancestors. It is the birth of ritual. Not just an act of superstition, but a pragmatic system of harm reduction, a social technology designed to manage a dangerous new discovery. It is the first time humans have consciously decided to regulate their own consumption of a psychoactive substance, creating a framework of rules to protect the community from the individual's altered state. They are not banning the fruit. They are domesticating it, containing its power within the safe walls of ceremony. They are turning a tragic accident into a controlled experience, transforming a nightmare into a sacrament. The survivors, even through the haze of their misery, understand. They have paid the price for their ignorance. And on this day, in the shadow of their grief, they invent a new kind of survival skill, the wisdom to know that not all gifts should be taken freely. Embers and decos. They never forget the names of the two who were lost. Their memory becomes part of the ritual itself, a somber toast to the terrible price of knowledge. The grove is no longer a place of wild abandon. It becomes their first temple, a place of controlled ecstasy, a place where the rules are as important as the fruit. The laughing spirit is still invited, but it is no longer the master of the feast. This act, born from a brutal hangover and a devastating loss, is a profound turning point. It marks the moment our species began to consciously grapple with its own consciousness, to build cultural firewalls against the beautiful, dangerous chaos of our own minds. We learned that the spirits in the plants could be as deadly as the monsters in the trees, and that both required the same tools for survival: foresight, community, and the creation of rules. We think of laws as restrictions, but the first law was not a chain. It was a shield, not for the body, but for the mind, hammered into shape in the forge of a terrible new morning. This has been the chronicle of the Grove clan. Their headache was the birth of wisdom. But what happens when the thing that must be controlled is not a plant, but a beast?